This is an excerpt from the book, Connecting People with Art, by Evelyn and Mercer Redcross. Available at octobergallery.com. Looking back, Evelyn Redcross and I perhaps had always been pack rats. Or to say it professionally, informed amateur accumulators. Before focusing on the visual arts, we traveled widely, collecting relics such as old clocks, leaded glass windows and doors, model trains and blown glass. By the early 1970s we were intrigued by the interactive process of bidding and purchasing at art auctions. We began collecting mainstream art, Dali, Miro and others, unaware that an extraordinary treasure of black art lay waiting to be explored and, more importantly, appreciated. As we collected, it occurred to us that something was missing. Where was the black art, the art of our own culture? We set out to explore and to become better informed about African American art. However, a number of issues impeded this objective. African American art was difficult to find in traditional galleries. We couldn't see a body of work in one place. Obtaining black art meant visiting each artist, one home at a time. By the 1980s we had met several black artists and were able to add their creations to our collection. Less than a handful of commercial African American art galleries had opened in the country by that time. Finding black art was still a challenge. I remember someone saying to me that, art is not in the neighborhood. Art is only the guy that lived down the street. The excitement of stumbling upon a product so hidden yet so rich in culture and expression was the catalyst that started kitchen table discussions and ultimately gave birth to October Gallery. The gallery opened in July 1985. Some forces were already at work while we were finding our way and building the business. Norman Lear's creation of the Good Times TV show gave national prominence to the work of African American artist Ernie Barnes. This television story of the Evans family with their everyday trials and triumphs in the inner city seemingly impressed an audience of African Americans who seldom saw themselves or their issues positively mirrored by national media. The sitcom The Cosby Show, which featured a middle-class black family, dominated primetime television from 1984 to 1992. This popular comedy promoted positive values. Black art was prominently displayed in nearly every room in the home. This had a great impact. It established that black art had value, and stimulated in viewers a desire to acquire it. Black art sales grew as a result. The Cosby Show greatly enhanced our efforts to promote black art in our gallery. After visiting the many art studios of such artists as Cal Massey, Bob Jefferson, Ellen Powell Tiberino, Tom McKinney and others, it became apparent that these and other African American artists had been painting for decades with little to no exposure in art galleries. These artists were skillful, painted the black experience and had lots of inventory. So the supply of black art was great. I remember the professor would say in class, if you don't have a customer, you don't have a business. Evelyn and I wondered where we were going to find customers for this large inventory of black art. Those customers started showing up. They were the black baby boomers, and there were lots of them. The black baby boomers were born in the USA between 1946 and 1964. This generation became of age during the effects of Jim Crow South. By and large sported an afro hair-do, wore a dashiki, read the autobiography of Malcolm X, attended black universities, marched for civil rights, then joined the workforce, and had available to them more disposable funds to claim their culture by collecting black art and supporting black artists. This became the era 1985 to 2005 as described by artist Larry Poncho Brown as the golden age of African American art. From the beginning, our vision was that art should be for everyone. We wanted everyone to feel a connection to art: factory worker, doctor, salesman, teacher, bus driver, lawyer, dishwasher, stock boy and cashier. Since there were so few African American art galleries, we understood that education would be the key to the gallery's long-term success. To educate and ultimately attract these baby boomer patrons, we could not allow barriers to disconnect them from the art. We especially could not allow exclusionary practices to limit the number of people who were taught and included as patrons of the gallery. We have always believed that the life enhancement that a piece of art generates for a collector is the most important reason to acquire artwork. This means that a collector's motivation should not be based solely on whether a work of art will appreciate financially. Rather, it should also be based upon a kinship, a connection with the essence and life force of the work. An astute art collector will recognize the value of an artist's work long before the investment-oriented art collector takes note. At October Gallery, we say it is well to develop a sensitive eye for intrinsic aesthetics when obtaining artwork. First, find the valid aesthetic reasons to purchase, then consider investment appreciation. Should a piece of art appreciate, that is an added benefit. This is an excerpt from the book, Connecting People with Art, by Evelyn and Mercer Redcross. Available at octobergallery.com.